Imagine being told that your right to live with your own family comes with an expiry date. That the person you love, your partner, your children, could be compelled to leave the country. Not because of any wrongdoing, but simply because the rules have shifted overnight. This isn't a what if scenario. It is the current reality for thousands of people across the United Kingdom. A wave of sweeping changes to UK immigration and indefinite leave to remain regulations is, according to many, creating an increasingly hostile environment for families. Recent amendments, and even more alarming proposals on the table, are aimed squarely at dependents, the spouses, partners, and children of individuals who have come to the UK to work, study, and contribute to the country. In this report, we will unpack these new rules, examine the measures already in force, and explore how they are pushing families into heartbreaking, often impossible decisions. We will also look ahead to the proposals looming on the horizon, changes that could turn the dream of settling in the UK into a struggle lasting more than a decade. To truly grasp the scale of the situation, it's important to view it as not a single policy shift, but rather a series of overlapping changes, each impacting people in different ways. Let's begin with the change that has caused the most widespread concern: the rise in the financial threshold. For many years, British citizens or those with settled status who wished to bring a non-British partner to live with them in the UK had to prove an annual income of at least £18,600. This was a significant hurdle, but one that many full-time working individuals could just about meet. However, in late 2023, the government announced, and from the 11th of April 2020 implemented, a dramatic increase. The minimum income requirement to sponsor a spouse or partner visa has now jumped to £29,000. To put this in perspective, the median full-time salary in the UK is roughly £35,000. This means that close to half of the working population may no longer meet the earnings requirement needed to bring their own partner into the country. Critics have labeled it a tax on love, a rule that effectively makes falling in love with someone from overseas a privilege reserved for higher earners. There was immediate confusion and alarm when this was announced, with fears that the new £29,000 threshold would also apply to people already living in the UK. When they renewed their visas, following public outcry, the government introduced transitional arrangements. Under these, individuals already on the 5-year partner visa route before the 11th of April 2024 will still be assessed according to the previous £18,600 requirement. For those already on the 5-year partner visa route, the previous income threshold will still apply when extending a visa or applying for indefinite leave to remain. It is, in some respects, a small relief for those already in the system, but for new applicants, the reality is far harsher. The door has effectively been shut. Anyone switching to a different visa category or whose personal circumstances change will now face this far higher financial barrier. The options are brutally limited: secure a substantially higher paying job, or face the prospect of your partner having to leave the UK. And there is a further shadow hanging over this policy. The government's initial plan was to push the income requirement even higher, to £38,700 for now. That proposal is on hold while the Migration Advisory Committee examines it. But the possibility remains, keeping many families in a constant state of anxiety. Let's now turn to another group, one the country openly celebrated during the pandemic: care workers. The UK's social care sector is in deep crisis, struggling to find enough staff. Yet, in a move critics have called both harsh and counterproductive, the government has placed new restrictions on the families of these essential workers. From the 11th of March 2024, newly arriving care workers and senior care workers have been barred from bringing dependents with them to the UK. Think about that. The people we rely on to care for the elderly and the most vulnerable are being told that their own spouses and children cannot join them. They are expected to leave their families behind in another country in order to take on some of the most demanding and lowest paid jobs in Britain. The consequences were swift and predictable. In the months after the rule change, Applications for the health and care worker visa fell by an astonishing 83%. The reason is clear: very few are willing to live indefinitely separated from their loved ones. Again, there is an important distinction. Care workers already in the UK before the March deadline can still live with their dependents and renew their visas under the old terms, but for anyone considering coming now, the message could not be clearer. Your work is welcome, but your family is not. This doesn't just deter new workers from applying. It will inevitably prompt many currently here to rethink their future in the UK, deepening the crisis in an already overstretched social care system. And the restrictions don't end there. The government has also extended its policies to the world of higher education. From the 1st of January 2024, the vast majority of international students have been banned from bringing dependents to the UK, a change that represents one of the most significant shifts in education-linked immigration policy in recent years. Until recently, postgraduate students in the UK had the option to bring their partners and children with them, a policy that allowed mature students with established families to pursue higher education without being separated from their loved ones. That has now changed. Today, that right has been almost entirely removed, with one key exception: those enrolled in research-based postgraduate programs, such as PhDs, can still bring dependents. For a prospective master's student with a young family, this creates an impossible choice: pause their academic ambitions or spend a year or more apart from their spouse and children. For many, that's not a choice at all. The result is a significant deterrent, one that will inevitably drive some of the world's brightest minds to study in countries like Canada, Australia, or the United States, nations that continue to welcome students' families. As with other rule changes, those whose courses began before January 2024 remain unaffected for now. But looking ahead, the flow of experienced professionals and highly skilled individuals seeking to upskill in the UK is being choked off before it even begins. If you've found the changes so far unsettling, brace yourself for what's being discussed next. In a white paper published in May 2025, the government outlined a series of proposals that, if implemented, could make building a life in the UK significantly harder. While these are still proposals, they reveal a clear direction of policy. The first is what some are calling the 10-year settlement trap. Under current rules, most people on work visas can apply for indefinite leave to remain, or settlement, after 5 continuous years in the UK. The government is now considering doubling that to 10 years. The implications are serious. A full decade of living with uncertainty, paying thousands of pounds in visa renewal fees, and covering the ever-rising immigration health surcharge. It would mean 10 years before individuals can truly call the UK home, before they can easily obtain a mortgage or feel a sense of stability. The proposal suggests family visa routes would be exempt, but for skilled workers, it would create a two-tier system and a long, costly road to settlement. The second proposal, set to take effect on the 22nd of July 2025, further restricts who can bring dependents. Only skilled workers in degree-level jobs would be allowed to bring their families. This would exclude a huge range of vital professions, such as skilled tradespeople, including builders and mechanics, sending yet another message: your skills are welcome, but your family is not. Finally, the white paper introduces a proposed English language requirement for adult dependents of workers and students. To even obtain a visa to enter the UK, they would need to pass a basic A1 level English test. For many families, this would add yet another cost, another layer of bureaucracy, and another hurdle in an already complex process. Taken together, the picture is stark. The minimum income threshold for partner visas has been raised dramatically, pricing many ordinary people out of living with their families. Care workers and most students have been barred from bringing loved ones altogether. And on the horizon, there are plans for a decade-long wait for settlement, further limits on which workers can bring dependents, and new language test requirements. These aren't just policy changes on paper, they are decisions that will have profound human consequences, forcing people to choose between their careers and their relationships, between vital jobs they're needed for and the children they love. It risks creating a system where migrants are seen as temporary, replaceable labor rather than human beings with families, commitments, and the right to build a stable life. Already, thousands of dependents are being directly affected if the proposals go ahead. Thousands more will face the choice of leaving the UK or abandoning their plans to come here. Altogether. So, what's your view? Have you or someone you know been caught up in these changes? Do you believe the government is justified in taking this approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe this conversation needs to be heard, share this video. To raise awareness, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll be tracking every development as this story unfolds. Thank you for watching.